welcome Dr. Sahargul.
Thank you.
Dr. Sahargul is a renowned scholar and I would say philosopher and Latifist. She is an expert on Latif and Sufis of Sindh and the world over. And she has worked extensively on this subject. Today we are honored to have her as our guest. And we'll especially talk about Shah Abdul Latif and his feminine or female voice. Why Latif uses that voice instead of a male voice, and what was his intention and what he achieves through it, and whether he has been able to achieve his objectives. So Dr. Bhatti, very welcome here. And how do you see that the device that Latif has used, and there are a lot of scholars who have been intrigued by that, but surprisingly that subject has not been probed much. So we would be really honored to hear your voice on that.
Thank you so much, Rafiq Saab, and I'm very glad to have been invited here to discuss Shah Latif Bhittai. Feminine speech or feminine narrative in Shah Latif Bhittai is intriguing. It's a mystery, really. There's no formula-like answer to it. There's no ready-made answer to it, or maybe we people are not exactly aware that this very concept was in the mind of Shah Latif Bhittai. That's why he has used feminine narrative. He has extensively used feminine narrative, and now we have to understand that why he has done that. I would, when you're asking me this question, I would explore my own consciousness, my own mind, my own wisdom, whatever so far I have learned, which is very limited, tiny, but I will explore that. So when I see there are 7 to 8 surs with the names of women, in which definitely there's a feminine narrative, and that's not only women empowerment and question related to women. They are talking on different subjects as well. There's a romance, and there's journey, there's environment. There are certain surs which have male protagonists, like Jogis of Ramkali and Khahuri. The narrator is a woman. Sarang is the sur of rain. The narrator is the woman. Samundri or Sarirag, they are male voyagers, sea voyagers. They go on underwater expeditions. The woman is the narrator. She not only narrates because she's waiting, she wants the men to come back, but meanwhile she's talking their different intellectual credentials as well. In Ramkali, the pursuits of priceless pearls when they are going into underwater expeditions. So woman is talking not only women issues, she's not only talking romance, she's talking the entire universal phenomenon in which there are lots of subjects. So this is it. So this, I have been thinking about it, and then I can do conjectures if you allow me. Maybe woman's voice is... there's endurance into it. Woman's art of loving, if we understand, the woman's art of loving is completely different than man. There are certain similarities, there are certain differences. Woman's pursuit to something, to achieve something, or going into the search of something, or going in the discovery of something, there are not many precedences comparative to man. We have seen certain roles that man has been doing in the society and the world. But Bhittai chooses that for woman as well. So I think Bhittai finds it more open. Woman is open to express emotions. She can cry, she can lament. Male and male's masculine power or masculine ego might not be very comfortable to express anguish, because society puts a different burden on man, different expression from them. So let's see. I mean, I would like to know from you as well. What do you think that why particularly this feminine narrative is so powerful in Shah Latif Bhittai?
Shah Abdul Latif does this very subtly and very artistically. As they say, art lies in concealing art. Mm-hmm. You don't really realize that he has been doing that throughout his Risalo, throughout his poetry. And only when you do the deep diving and you go into it and you realize, oh my God, he has been using the female voice all along, and that too, not at the cost of male. The main characters are there. He nowhere, for example, if you read Saswi, you at no stage you feel anything bad about Puno. And same for Marvi, for example. You read it, you read all along, but you have nothing against Umar at the end of the chapter, or the sur, what we call. The only is that what is great about Latif is that he is doing it in the end of 17th century and the first half of the 18th century. And that was not the age of feminism. Then he was not himself a female. And he was, one feeling might be that he was kind of being rebellious against that kind of society, which was more patriarchal, which was more focused on men, which was more praising or admiring or eulogizing character of men and family in society. But here he was that Latif was telling us and all the generations to come that woman lives more passionately, woman lives more authentically, more genuinely. If she is in love, she doesn't hide it. She shows that she is in love. If she is vulnerable, she shows that she is vulnerable. So especially the aspect of vulnerability that's talked about. For example, all the characters that we talk about, Latif's, the female characters, when they feel the pangs, the worries, the anguish, they express it. For example, if he had told this story, for example, Saswi, let's say, if he had told this story from the perspective of Punu, he fell in love, he was taken away by his brothers and family, and he starts coming back to Saswi. Would Shah been able to say what he said it through the voice of Saswi, for example? Would he have been able to do that? Would he have been able to achieve that greatness which he has done through Saswi? What do you think about that?
I mean, as I said to you in the beginning, that there's not a very ready-made answer, because if I say that what I found woman's voice is stronger, and if I say that, okay, if man in love, man in pursuit, man in such would be less stronger, it'll be gender imbalance. And I don't believe that. I believe that, of course, if, given the lead role in the patriarchal structures, man is more powerful to do many things than women do. If man wants. So now the question is that Bhittai has made woman want it to go into the pursuit of Punnu. He has wanted a woman to desire, to say no to the royalty of the Umar, whatever he was offering her, in the name of love. Why a woman says no to love? But I chose that. And so I can't say that a man cannot do this. A man also is equally capable to do this. But the question is that Bhittai relied more on the voice of woman, and he trusted woman more into this. So so these are the anecdotes, these are folk stories that Bhittai has picked, and then not only Bhittai, the poets before that, since Qazi Khazan, they have picked all these, most of the characters that Bhittai only just has used the precedence of using these folk stories. Saswi Punnu, Umar Marvi's, Soni Mewar, Bhittai has taken from the precedence, but the way he has presented. Now, I would like to talk about the surs as well. Sur Khawadi, or Sur Ramkali especially, when a woman says that Golyan Gundhyan Vaya Veragi Nikri, Sobataja Sandhyana, Auna Jayandi Unari. Right? So now Sobataja Sandhan, Sobat is a Persian tradition, Persian word, and it's in Persian language translation is kalam, communication, interaction, dialogue. In Sindhi, then, in Urdu languages, the meaning has changed or altered, but the original is that. So Bhittai is using, when Bhittai is using such words, we take in a Persian tradition because he was well versed with Rumi and Masnavi and Persian language. So she is remembering the dialogue, the content of the dialogue. That's very interesting because it's not showing that she's only talking about one person. She's mentioning, a totality of yogis. There's a group, there's a cohort that is going on an expedition. Maybe they are climbing the mountains and, they are ascetics and they are unaware of the surroundings and they are wearing saffron color. They are, not into the instincts, and they're unique people. Why a woman would idealize that? So Bhittai in that sur has shown a woman who pursues intellectuality. Bhittai manifests her various personality shades into that sur as an intellectual woman, a woman who enjoys the scholastic company of someone. So that's also a completely new thing. If you see Sur Sarang, in which you see there's a whole biosphere is suffering under drought. There's immense scarcity. There's huge lacking. So that animal, the trees, the humans, and the land, the soil, and all the biosphere is under drought. And she's portraying everything. Meantime, she also portrays love as well. In Sindhi, we say Niha and Miha, the rain and the love. There's a rhyming scheme, but I constantly using that. And she's remembering someone, but she's so bold even in that as well. She wants someone to be with her at that time because the weather is good. And this is so romantic that Bhittai, shows saying that woman. So intellectual part and the romantic part, they go parallel in Sur Sarang. Same as Sur Samundri as well. Newly wedded women, they are waiting for their husbands. They are sea voyagers. They are going into underwater expedition. They go into the depths of the water. And they are waiting. Women are waiting. There's endurance into it. There's a slight lamentation as well. There's a huge romance as well. There's shades of longing, a nostalgia that's unbearable. And the woman is passing through that. But meanwhile, she's also highlighting that these are the people. They are going into the bottoms of the water and pick the priceless pearls. And they know which of the pearls, which are underwater, is priceless. They pick only that. So that is samundra je sevint in manaka media ya seva kar samudra ji jaro hai to jal. But I constantly, shows that a woman is singing and talking variety of things. So Bhittai's woman is not only talking her personal issues of love and romance. Of course, she highlights them. She highlights gracefully in magnanimity. The love, the grandiosity of that love, the idea that she portrays. This is higher, but she portrays the grandiosity of the wisdom as well.
Yeah, that's great. We must not make a mistake that while speaking in the voice of a female, Shah is not representing only women. He is representing entire human condition. That woman's voice is actually the human voice. Whenever so how do you see that?
Yeah, exactly. I gave you the example. So the people who are sea voyagers and who have the expert eye to pick the pearls which are priceless or which are rare. So why a woman would know that? This is completely different knowledge. In Sur Kapaiti, you see the women workers are working on handloom. And the Bhittai touches the topics of procrastination. He touches the topic of the handloom is broken and how to work on the broken handloom. And he also makes a woman talk about how it is important to come to Atarna, which is factory, to come to Atarna or factory every day. It's important. and the lethargy is not good, and then the producing the best quality of yarn is good. So these all the topics, I mean, if you just enter into Bhittai and pick the subjects, and there'll be hundreds of themes coming forward in front of you, all those are spoken by women. So Sarang, I told you that it's an environmental thing, something that is barren, and it has to be porous soon with the water. But the woman is talking that. So yes, Bhittai has made her speak on a variety of subjects, not only. This is the question.
How this female voice has enabled Shah to empower women and break away from the traditional gender roles?
Yeah. Rafiq Sahab, we live in a very difficult times in which we see that in the name of love, women are killed in different parts of the country. I don't say only in northern areas of Sindh, but in Balochistan and in Punjab and Pakhtunkhwa. Women are not given this agency to express their love. A woman say that she's in love with someone. It's not very common even now in 21st century. I don't know what was the situation in the 18th century when Bhittai was very active. He was born in 1689, but then I say that he became a poet when it was beginning of the 18th century, that he was a young poet, and he was. So I don't know what was the situation at that time. And now women, even in 21st century, it's difficult to express that you are in a pursuit of love. There's a very rare thing he has made a woman do.
How should young reader take it, the female voice? How should they interpret it? How should they adapt it?
The way Bhittai has been interpreted in the recent years, now as you and I are, and the other people we are working with, they are trying to interpret it in a variety of ways. It has been interpreted as a character of resilience, as a character who struggles, who is unremitting, inexhaustible, but in the pursuit of love. So the young reader today, the way Bhittai is interpreted, sees it as a woman who is very bold and audacious, and she has audacity to express love in the pursuit of someone who has left her.
Mm-hmm.
Pursuing that person who has left, or for some reason, Bhittai doesn't say that man was agency-less, man was powerless, man was less empowered, but they're all characters are like that, as if they didn't have agency. Umar didn't have agency to be a gentleman, to offer her love to her at the well and express that, and seek, send a proposal at her home. It was very simple to do that. He didn't do that. And so men, Bhittai, then they have declassed. Bhittai has shown male characters in a different way. We someday could talk on that as well. But the woman is constantly dealing with the situation, which is without lamenting or criticizing or critiquing the character of man, as if she is given this role of constant struggle, and she has to focus. As we see in the theater, when theater portrays a story, it doesn't take everything else. It portrays the main story and the character and the constantly elaboration into that. Bhittai's surs are like this, that the woman is under the camera, maybe under the spotlight, and she's constantly seeing her role. She's on the mountain, or she's swimming through the gushing rivers with a broken jar, and or she is struggling to saying no to the riches or luxuries of Umar, king. So that in that particular character, she's busy in her work and her characteristic and her developing her own persona. Male's persona is not developed in Shah Latif Bhittai's Risalo.
I have two questions, and I want your truly brutal answers.
Okay.
Brutally honest. As a woman, as an intellectual, scholar, a researcher, novelist, and as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend. All those roles, whether individually or
Collectively.
merging collectively, you may answer. There is no Sindhi who does not know Shah Abdul Latif. Know means that not only that he knows that there is Shah Abdul Latif, he knows by heart. He can recite quite a few verses of Shah Abdul Latif, his baits, right?
Yes.
Everybody, I can say with authority. And it means Shah must have had impact on that society, right? Shah's impression must be on that society. So this female voice, empowering voice, and the female characters of Shah that they are there, how far have they affected Sindhi patriarchs, Sindhi males, thinking patterns, mindsets towards women? Or Shah did it in vain? As it stands today, could it have been worse if Shah had not done this? Or Shah has had no effect at all? Or Shah has had some effect and things have mellowed down, or things are somewhat better?
Bhittai's impact on Sindhi
That particular angle, I'm gender roles and the way we see women, and that particular and the way Shah has elevated, I won't say elevated, given her due place which she deserved. Has it impacted Sindhi society?
There's a complexity in the question. The question is very good. The answer has to see that complexity. Bhittai has said a lot, and it is completely impactable. It submerges you, it empowers you, it controls you. Bhittai's philosophy is so powerful that you have to be swayed away by that. The Sindhi society is swayed away definitely by that. How it has impacted it. So the impact in the strengthening of gender roles that requires institutional uplift as well. So the consciousness of a common mind is quite swayed away by Bhittai, influenced by Bhittai. But how empowered women are, because if Bhittai had impacted completely in the society, the state role also would have kind of worked in that direction to protect women at least. At least in Sindh, for example, no woman would have been killed in the name of love, at least. So that impact is lacking because the institutional strength is also lacking. The quality advancement of the institution, that is lacking. But we have philosophy. So the theoretically, Bhittai's philosophy generally should protect gender roles and should be kind of, could be equivalent to the 21st century gender development. But it is not happening because of the implementation. Now let's talk about the common people, how we carry Bhittai inside us. We carry Quran inside us because being a Muslim society, the people who are Muslim, we carry religiosity. We are Muhammadans, or we are followers of Jesus, or what. We carry the philosophies inside us. So similarly, Bhittai is inside us. We keep on carrying in different situations. Sindhis, or how Bhittai has impacted Sindhis in a gender role, and that love, the way Sindhis sing in a Sufistic tradition, that is rare. Sindhi society is secular mostly. I'm just separating in the situation from 80s when Afghan jihad impacted us and changed us a lot and transformed us a lot, and we began seeing that the world has been created by God only for Muslims, for 2 billion people, to 2.4. 24% of the population of the world. When we were not thinking that, at that time Sindhis were coexisting. I grew up in an environment where there were Hindus, and I used to go to temples into different rituals. I give you my personal example. I used to go to churches, and I was Muslim practicing, and I was doing my rituals as well. And then for me, it was not a challenge. So Sindhi society was like that, and I think it's impact of Shah and Sachal. I won't say only Shah and then Shah, Sachal, Sami, I will just quote them. So in that tradition, you will see that. In gender roles, I think Sindhi society needs to learn a lot, and it has to, Bhittai's message needs to be institutionalized.
Yes, what I get from you that if there has been something which has limited the impact of Shah on a society and a Sindhi society is the public policy, because Shah's message or Shah's whatever it was philosophy has not been aligned with the public policy or the state systems. This is why this is not impacted.
Have you seen this Bhittai's philosophy incorporated into the manifestos, incorporated into the policies that govern our country? Slowly and gradually, Pakistan is changing. Our legislation is wonderful now, no doubt on that. It is changing. Implementation is the problem, but that message of interfaith harmony, gender balance, inclusivity, and diversity, and equity and equality that comes from Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, it is not properly incorporated. And once it happens, you will see the implementation. This is what I want to say that.
What do you think could be such policy initiatives which would really be helpful? And so to say, now we distill it into the modern concept of women empowerment, so to say, right? Recently, we have been seeing that internationally as well as nationally there are certain initiatives aimed at women empowerment, right? Still in Sindhi society, for example, or Sindh society, what are those policy steps, policy interventions that are really, really required to truly empower women so that they can play the role which Shah Abdul Latif envisioned them to do, taking the lead, being themselves, being their authentic selves.
So action plan is lacking,
Yes.
implementation is lacking. The policies are wonderful, because now when our policymakers, our parliamentarians, when they are working on those policies, they're referring to the international examples and international references. So the policy on the paper is ideal, and the action plan is lacking. So the proper
Yeah.
action plan into it, how they are, reaching to the grassroots. The policy, for example, let's talk about the legislation that has happened. Common people know. We talk about the Agriculture Women's Act. Do women know what are their rights? So that common people also rise up and raise the pressure. The topic is changing. We are talking. But do people say that, okay, does woman know that she can't be forced to marry? This is the old 2010 legislation. Now it's 2026. The discriminatory laws, most of the men don't know that such and such actions or words or expressions can come into the category of harassment, but still they do it, and they don't know it. So the implementation, and then of course awareness also. There's a right to information. Article 19A is in the constitution of the country, right to information. So people should have right to information towards the legislation that is already made. How to do that? The government of Pakistan, and let's focus Sindh, the government of Sindh has to do that to make people aware.
As a Muslim society, when we hear about maybe honesty or simplicity or responsible citizenship in countries like Japan or Australia or some other country, we say very boldly that these countries had adopted the principles of Islam truly rather than we have, right? Rather than any Islamic society has. So, would you like to say that what Shah's message has been adopted more truly by countries like Finland or Iceland or New Zealand, where women are truly empowered, or they make the not only that lead their countries, but they even make the majority of the cabinet or the parliament or the decision-making positions, unlike in Sindh or Pakistan, or where Shah Abdul Latif is read and understood and in a way even worshipped.
So we bring the tolerant features from Quran that are universal, that are accepted by all religions. So we are also people we believe in biblical religions. We can't be Muslims if we believe in Judaism and Christianity. So we believe in the testaments. We believe into existence of those prophets and their powerful personalities like Prophet Muhammad is. So similarly, the message, the universal message in the last sermon of Muhammad, peace be upon him, of equality, of right to education, that you travel to different parts of the world being a man and a woman. And so that is a universal idea, universally accepted. So Bhittai's empowerment, certain ideas are universally accepted. People might not know much about Mohammedan tradition into Finland or Bhittaian tradition into Finland and Belgium and countries like Norway and Netherlands. These countries are very gender sensitive and inclusivity sensitive. If you read about them, they might not know. But I just say that the universal concepts, the more humanitarian, can't be implemented when you think that the world is created only for Muslims. So you have to change the notion. So if you believe in God and you believe in 8 to 9 billion people existing into the world, you being 2 billion, you have to be a little bit submissive in front of the magnanimity of the population and believe into the majority and diversity. So we have to think of the notion that the render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's and the render unto God the things that are God's. If Muslims start thinking in that notion, then of course we can say that Bhittaian tradition, a tradition which are Quranic or religious, are being implemented generally everywhere. We have to change the thought. I mean, Finland is not your answer. These countries are not well versed with our philosophy, but still they are doing what is good. The general good and its implementation, we have to do it politically.
I'll give a statement and I'll dare you to challenge it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
A statement is that the message of Islam, the message of Muhammad, is, we claim as Muslims that what message it is. Message of peace, love, harmony, simplicity, honesty, hard work. It's lost on Muslims.
It is?
Lost on Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else may be following that, but not Muslims in true spirit. Similarly, the message of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, in terms of women empowerment or women authenticity, is lost on Sindhi society.
So it needs to be spread everywhere. My question from you is that how do you say that Prophet's message or Islam's message is lost on Muslims? In what context you say?
I'm saying they are not living, they are not practicing Islam. They might be practicing Muslims to the extent of rituals, but their life is not largely. We look at the Muslim societies all around the world where they stand. They are war-ridden, they are poverty-ridden, there all sorts of crimes are there, all times of exhibitionism is there. There are so many issues that they are there. It means if they had what they say is the religion of Islam is, which is a religion of coexistence, of harmony, of simplicity, of honesty, of peace, almost, most of all. Similarly, when we talk about Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, we say he empowers women. He speaks in women's voice because he wants to break those shackles of gender roles. But that message has been lost on Sindhi society. When we see about the honor killings, we see fewer women in the powerful roles, in the boardrooms, or in the parliament, or in the schools, or in the universities, or everywhere else in life. I tell you one thing. One friend of mine visited from some Western country here after a long, long time. And he went to some city of Sindh, right? And he talked to me very strangely. He said, where is the other 50% of population? I've been to bazaars and roads and markets. Where are women? Where are women of this country, this state, this city gone? So this is what not Shah was telling us.
So when you are saying that the message is lost on us, or the message is not practiced by Muslims, I'll go to your two questions one by one. We cannot see the current situation, or if the situation in the past 4 or 5 decades, into isolation. If the terms that you use, coexistence and peace, harmony, that you were using those terms, those were affected or damaged during the Afghan jihad as well. So an Afghan jihad, which impacted us, I grew up in it. My childhood grew up in it, grew in that situation. I saw my society changing, transforming, being intolerant gradually. The audience became very difficult. So when people don't follow peace and don't believe in harmony and coexistence, and they think that my religion is the best and I'm the best, they say it because of that as well. Don't detach. Don't see it in isolation. The US policies, the global policies, the Afghan jihad, our role, the Russia, all that. When Pakistan was fighting that Afghan war on the borders, within the borders, Pakistan was introducing hudud ordinances. It was the simultaneous impact, because I'm a student of Cold War and I worked on it through my master's from UK was on that, and my PhD dissertation is a little bit relevant to it. I have been working closely on that. We changed, we transformed. When we were openly respecting religions and suddenly we became intolerant. I grew up in the neighborhood where Muslim women used to tell the butcherman, don't bring the knives and the tools that he has used to cut the cow, because Hindus won't like it. Because Hindus revere cow. Right? The Muslim women used to. So I saw that society, but suddenly we see change. So number one, you keep it at society. Islam's message of peace, and especially the last sermon of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it is still in our hearts in the society. But politics is a dirty game, and you say that the politics changes and transforms everything. And Pakistan's politics, and Muslim society's politics, and the countries of GCC, where you see those Gulf countries where you see the oil politics, things are changing.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll interrupt you and I'll bring you back to our
I'm coming to the topic.
theme. Yeah,
I'm coming to the topic. So I see that you see the world. You said your first question was, you started from Islam and you said that is not implemented that has not influenced the Muslims. So these countries are busy into war constantly. Iran, Lebanon, you see that. My second novel is on the Lebanon, and I'm working on how there's a romantic story between a Jewish man and a Muslim woman, and I see how the world is changing. So when first time United States were entering Middle East, it created crisis between Maronite Christians and Muslims. Vietnam War was a religious crisis. Afghan jihad was a religious crisis. So coming back to Bhittai, I think, yes, women empowerment 21st century should redefine the policies, taking Bhittai as a manifesto, taking last sermon of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a manifesto. Even the egalitarian stand of Jesus Christ against Romans to create a collective banquet for all people, equality. Why Roman kings were eating different and common people were. He opened Ijtimai Langar Khana. So when we learn all these things from these bigger people, then we see the society. So I think governments should bring the people who are philosophically trained on Sufism, mysticism, equality, interfaith harmony. There should be some people included into the policy making to do that. That's why, these will be implemented. Bhittai is a powerful woman. Now you will see slowly and gradually emerging, but when the people like you have started, this venture to interpret Shah Latif Bhittai, who did that before? We have to interpret it. And in 21st century, how would I interpret Marvi?
Right. Let's come back to microcosm rather than macrocosm, the larger society or government and Shah's impact on that. And so let's talk about the people who are truly, let's say, in a limited sense of the word, heirs of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, the intelligentsia, right? The scholars of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, the poets, the writers, the novelists, the intellectuals. How far in their attitudes, in their behaviors, in their view of the world, do they embody Shah Abdul Latif's vision of a society which assigns woman a place of prominence? You have been moving into intellectual circles, literary gatherings, and public life. There's a one question number 2 which I said I would require brutal answer. Are they any different from typical patriarch? Do they embody Shah in their living? Are they living examples of Shah Latif's philosophy? Or they are not? They are just superficial.
First of all, the patriarchal structures are not only in Pakistan and Sindh. The world is created by man. The history is written by man. So there's a patriarchy dominant. Some voices are missing, no doubt on that. Coming back to your question, that the intelligentsia, majority of them are patriarchal, men and women. I won't say only men. Men and women both are patriarchal. They're rigid. They have biases, completely prejudiced against the open expression of love, open expression of gender, diversity. There is bias, but I think it's not their fault as well. We need some people. They should suddenly emerge and start interpreting everything for them. There is a gulf now. Slowly and gradually, that gulf is increasing. That Bhittai's knowledge has to be seen into the light of 21st century. Huge development has taken place. We were discussing about inner development goals, Millennium Development Goals, the covenants and the different rules and regulations are emerging into the world. World is changing. How to see Bhittai into that lens? So we have to bring the most modern ideas of empowerment of human being and women as well, and all genders, not men and women, all genders, and then see Bhittai into that lens. We have to bring that idea of Shah Latif Bhittai into the bigger horizon, so that the enlightenment that Bhittai has shared with us, the world should see that an 18th century poet talked on such and such things. We have to do this. It's incumbent upon us to do that. So only then, it's a brutal answer is that we are not doing it, but that's not very intense brutality into it. It required a first step that you have taken, that we are doing it now, but we have to do it in an organized way.
You're so very right that patriarchy or patriarchal society is not only in Sindh or Pakistan, but globally. And this is also right that what we call the typical gender roles and sexism, that's also so deeply ingrained that sometimes we like uttering sexist remarks, we don't even realize that we are being
We do that.
whether we are men or women. Keeping that in view, what would be your message for young men and women? How to avoid that trap of seeing things through a man's lens only, not a human's lens. How to avoid the traps and unfortunate snares of sexism, and how to learn what to learn from Shah and his female characters, and especially his female voice.
So globally, there should be a discussion on what is the human lens. Actually, human lens has to be constantly redefined into the every moment changing world. We have to do that. So younger generation, how should see this? I say that we need to learn certain things. We have to see the macro into the macro lens and the macro into the micro lens. We have to be aware of both. When we talk about micro, we see a bomb blast has taken place, but it has a connection, immediate, meso, and macro. So the macro may be the decades old, because this is a tradition that happened. Similarly, honor killing, micro, macro. So the younger generation should increase their knowledge to see the local into the global context, to see the micro into the macro context, and to see the today's perspective into historical context. When we have to learn it, then we will do the justice to whatever is happening, right or wrong. And the second, I think they should refer to the theories. When they are seeing our country's politics into global lens, it opens their horizons, actually. They come out of the certain limitations, okay, because many people know that whatever happened in Afghan jihad, this was only limitation of Islam that happened, or it was limitation of Wahhabism that happened. It was nothing else, but it was a pure politics. See? So our younger generation, when they are interpreting Bhittai, they have to understand that lens as well.
Thank you. I'm recommending the viewers this novel of yours.
Thank you.
Ishq Tamam, Behr Tamam, Breh Tamam, Ishq Tamam, Breh Tamam. What would you recommend the readers, except for your own books, to read, which should enlighten them, which about Shah or generally humanity or whatever?
I would like to say them, instead of suggesting a particular book, I would say them to focus on the most modern and most humanitarian and equality-driven theories and ideas, which teach them that they are part of a huge population of the world, of humans, and they have to respect diversity and inclusivity. I think the world is going to be very beautiful, not through just philosophies, through politics, or through theories and policies. The world has to be beautiful through the human relationship, which brings peace, which doesn't judge. So I think the dependence of consciousness or cognition, of human cognition, if is on equality and inclusivity, then that dependence or that reliance on the knowledge will create a very decent and peaceful human interaction, which is based on harmony. Which is based on equality and harmony. If they do this, they should come from that. But they should not. They think that There are a variety of religions, there are a variety of ethnicities, there are a variety of languages, and all are beautiful. I'm academically trained in anthropology, so that pushes me constantly to think in that way, that everybody is equal, and there's no supremacy of any human being or any race or any ethnicity except for person or being or idea that is more valued. Say, I mean, my ideas might be very superficial, but the idea of equality and respect for diversity, it's a supreme idea. So the younger generation have to kind of pick all these important notions and follow them, and they will find those in Quran and in the Old and New Testaments and the Ramayana and Gita and in Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai and Sachal and everywhere in Vedas. So we have a rich history, human history, in which there was diversity cherished and sung.
It turns out Shah Latif is as relevant today as he was that time. He's more relevant today because we see what Shah was doing or saying in 18th century. It is being translated, at least to the extent of covenants or manifestos, the right state policies in the 21st century, especially women's empowerment and gender sensitization. You have been working with the United Nations and European Union and other development organizations. So how do you see that? Shah was so far-sighted, he could see from the film, so progressive in that time. And is it how far the world has been able to achieve what Shah wanted? Is it still lagging behind? They have achieved significantly, or a lot requires to be done?
So the whole world, the main notions related to empowerment have been changing. The feminism has been impacting them. The different development goals have been impacting that. Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai's women characters' notions were completely different. Today, our women, our younger women especially, are influenced by media, by consumerism, by modifying their outer looks, by changing them, by changing their personalities. Appearance is more important. So beyond appearance, Bhittai's characters had beyond appearance thought and goals, and they were more inward, and then outward was impacted by them. So here, the inward journey is completely fashioned what media says, how media portrays an ideal woman, how cosmetic industry portrays, how showbiz industry. Our younger generation is more influenced by that. Bhittai's characters were influenced by virtues, by goals, by wisdom, by pursuit of love, by pursuit of harmony. There were so many ideas which were kind of, able to contribute to human society. Goodness, courage, and resilience, and character. That's very important. Character needs to be defined. I mean, it's very traditionally defined. But the character, the current media, the cosmetic industry, the surgery industry, the cosmetic surgery industry that is creating, that works on appearance only. So that's the difference, I think, how Bhittai or our philosophical thoughts are that powerful to influence that. It's a gigantic task. We are just working on the policies, and we have discussed about that we would develop an action plan and do this and that. But how would you face that? It seems of a kind of very weak and naive voice in front of these cosmetic industries. Bhittai's notions: a woman has to look like this, a woman has to walk like this, a woman has to be successful like this. Where are the virtues? Opportunism is very important, it's necessity. So, I think there's the people who are working on Bhittai, the people like
We are living in very interesting times, right? One, there is a movement towards empowerment of women, right? Assigning them due role and leadership to the women, not restricting them to the traditional, conventional gender roles. But there is another movement, as you talk about consumerism, objectification of women. the commodification of women. That's also there. Though, and you are saying the solution lies in Shahs. So instead of putting a spotlight on woman's appearance, put a spotlight on his character, on his resilience, on his struggle, on his true love, her faith, her inner character. So that is, so the solution lies in Shah's poetry and Shah's
I know.
message.
I just want to say that let's learn from Shah Latif Bhittai when he was portraying Mauri, that was offered abundance of material luxury. Bhittai doesn't say how did she look, how she was looking and wearing that particular attire and the jewelry and all that. But it doesn't say. In Nuri, you see that there were queens of Jamtamachi, but they were wearing very precious clothes and everything. But you are showing the virtue of Nuri as a humble and modest woman. So we see what was she wearing. Was her body modified or not? Was she fat or not? Was her nakshor, that facial cuts and beauty and appearance was attractive or not? No. Bhittai's ideals are very philosophical and theoretical. A symbolism was lived, a real experience. Here there's no symbolism, has only reality and concrete. Concrete has to be beautiful. Women become, recently I was reading Dr. Claire Chambers, a professor in Cambridge University. She has written an interesting article that the body that is modified is the most attractive body. A woman who becomes pregnant and then body changes, she becomes mother. So motherhood is not cherished. Constantly, cosmetic industry, surgery, or cosmetic surgery industry portrays that you have to change yourself. You have to look different. You have to change. You have to bring back the older body. So older body was not a good body. Older body was not the mother body. The body of a mother changes. That's very natural. So why you have to change it? Health is something else. So they have kind of, put the health into the shade, and they are portraying. So Bhittai was not portraying woman like that at all. Bhittai was not seeing that Suhni was exactly how attractive she was and what she was wearing, and how she changed her outer look to be accepted by Mehar. That man was not consumerist at that time, not driven by consumerist industry, cosmetic industry. The woman was not. Now it is. How would you, the bigger challenge for the people like you and I who are working into the philosophy of Shah Latif Bhittai and is spreading into the global world, how would you make people feel that voices is stronger, which is beyond apparent? So forget about appearance, how it looks. Work on your health, that's good. You should eat healthy, it's good. You should work out on your body, it's good. But why cosmetic industry? You change your nose? Why do you need to change your nose and cheeks and hair and everything? So Bhittai's topics are different. This is the message for the younger generation, I think. It's very important.
Yeah, that's true. Bhittai's lens is different. Bhittai's lens is at the inner strengths of woman rather than her appearance. And modern day consumerism is altogether different.
Modern day consumerism, you're saying,
it's
different.
different.
It's very. So that's it. Someday we
So
should.
we only hope that the world is yet to be reclaimed through the philosophy of Shah Abdul Latif and the likes of him. That instead of being swept away by consumerism, by the body, the imaging of body.
So you're more focusing on appearance, then you're missing here.
Beyond
apparent, you're missing.
And inner strength.
Cognition is missing. When you're constantly focusing appearance and the outer decoration, the inner decoration is missing. That's why definitely you're not. So there's a trade-off we are doing. The media industry has made us do. Many women are in pursuing that, how to look.
This can be a message for young people as well to assess the person opposite to you not on the basis of their appearances or their looks or what they are wearing or what they say, but instead what do they think.
But it is being institutionalized. You are
think?
saying should not do that, but that is already institutionalized, Rafiq Saab. How would we counter it?
Powerful voices like yours will of course be heard,
and yours as well.
That's very important, that because consumerism has a lot of power. Media, they can buy the prime time. And this kind of voices are very, minimalistic. Thank you very much, Dr. Sairgul. It was really honored to have you, and we discussed a gamut of things, starting from Shah Abdul Latif's female voice, its purpose, its objectives, its impact, as well as Shah Latif's poetry, its message, and his female characters, and even went into Islam and how the society of Sindh has been affected by various geopolitical happenings around the world. We hope that this discussion will continue and we'll have certain other aspects covered in the future discussions. Thank you very much.